Kyle, what's up? I'm trying to having weird connection issues. Trying to get gotta sand some baits today. I would have done this earlier, but the drip pan on the AC outside my office decided it wanted to pour water. So I was trying to unclog that. That took a couple hours of dealing with. Hella, are you? You might not use one of these, but probably is the aliens, man. Um, Rich, what's up? Uh, so if anybody's curious if they're a loser or not, I would say if you're not using some sort of plug knocking mechanism, pole, knocker, whatever, if you leave the boat ramp and you have no way of potentially retrieving your hung lures, you would be qualified. Morgan, that was unfortunate. You missed a good one. They're still over there. They're still over there. Um, Kyle, explain this. Got a reel. So this would be a good prime example. So what you do with this little mechanism sent by Mike Israel, you would attach the rod. Daniel, what's up, dude? You would attach the reel to the rod. It's pretty matchy. It looks nice. And then you'd run some heavy braid on here, like 100-pound braid or something real heavy. And then you attach it to a plug knocker or bait knocker or whatever. I've always used they're called like hound dog style. But what it is basically is a giant piece of lead that goes on your line, and it usually has some sort of chains or something hanging off the bottom like an octopus. And what you would do is you would wrap the knocker around your line, hit free spool, send the knocker down. The weight of the knocker hits the bait, boom, knocks it off. You reel your bait up, you get your knocker, and then you get your bait attached to the bottom. Sometimes the knocker hits the bait, knocks it loose. Sometimes the chains grab the hooks and will pull the hooks off or whatever. So, Hella, what if you get caught in some sort of mesh that runs down the side of a seawall on a dock or under a pier or something? I know you fish those. You never been hung in some sort of mat? Because those things are real tough, and you usually can't pull those with your rod tip. You would need something to hang the hooks potentially, and then pull as hard as you could. So, Eric, we'll talk about that later. Everything can be improved. Everything can be improved. And Darius has an auto retriever. That black mat is the death of cranks. If you get hung in that shit, you're toast. Your only saving grace is that if you can get the retriever to it and get the hooks hung, you can sometimes pull hard enough that it'll tear the mesh. But that shit's even hard to tear. I don't know that. Probably not. I don't. I've never. I've never plug knocked a jig. Uh, Mike, what's up, dude? Um, or if it's not Mike, if it's Jen, or if it's Tyler, or whoever is on the bullshit account today. Hello. Um, yeah, that Black Death mat is the worst. Hella, I would probably plug knock your Ned rig just to knock it off and hopefully break your little weenie ass line. That's the only time I'd use a plug knocker on a Ned rig. I'd send the plug knocker down and like snap it as hard as I could to break your line, and then say, tie some real shit on, bro. Tie that, tie that 3/4 ounce Bass Tech jig on. Get to work. Quit dicking around. Jeremy says they get out single hook swim bait's pretty good. I can see that. Um, Nate, have you ever seen that tournament on the Ozarks where Rick Clunge trying to get his bait off of a dock, and he reaches down and he's like, his arm is like this far into the water, and he's trying to get his bait off the pole, and the bait gets hung in his hand, and then the boat starts drifting off, and his hand is attached to the bait, and he like keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper into the water. Scary. Oh no, I'm not on my old account on Instagram. I'm on my regular one. You scared me for a second. I was like, am I? No, but um, yeah. So if you're like my old fishing partner Jody, he went diving for a bait down a log one time, and it was pretty sketchy. He dove down like 8 feet to get it off, and I would not recommend that. But you don't have to do dumb shit like that if you just take a plug knocker with you. But old cowboys, they don't like that. They don't like the fancy tools. They rather just strip down and go swimming. Um, 2025 Humminbird Live Aquaview Retrieve that mounts to your Ultrex. That would be kind of cool. I wouldn't complain about that. The only problem was if they came out with that in 2025, I would probably get it in 2035. Kyle, I don't know what's going on with the gram. I did have something. Dude, I went to like elementary school with. He he's had this country music type career, if you want to call it that. He's been songwriting, trying to do his thing in country music. Um, Slow go, just like anything else. But he was in the military, and he started. He did this one live, and I guess you could say it went viral. But he's like one of those like truthers, and the son of a bitch went from 1,300 followers on his country music page to 30,000 in 3 days. 30,000, 3 days. Um, it's pretty amazing to watch because I kept looking back and checking um, to see like how fast he was growing. Uh, Deus, yeah, an A rig stings. When I was first throwing an A rig, they were all homemade. And I would just, I was using the wrong material and the arms would just break off. So I didn't feel too bad about it because I could just go make me another shitty one. But what am I sanding here? The Marty Burns Mubba. The full size, not the little weenie one. It's the big boy. I've got a bunch more to go. Y'all get a good laugh out of Brian New calling Chickamauga the biggest dump hole in the country on Bass Live. I didn't see that. Daniel, I'm glad you said that. Hold on. Because they showed up in this package and I didn't know who they were from. Like I couldn't keep track. So now I'm going to write your name on them. Let me see how you spell your last name. Daniel Scamardo. I'm assuming these are you. Osmium. That would be kind of cool if you wanted to pay $75 for a Ned head. Are these the warts you speak of? The fancy Japanese warts? The Megabass warts? Have you tested these, Daniel? This one's already got a rusty ball in it. Just FYI. It's typically not a good sign when you see that. Kyle, yeah, A-rig, same as umbrella rig. They are one and the same. Some people don't like saying the A word. My chair is sticking. Okay, there we go. Is there another crankbait question? No. Casey, what's up, dude? Yes, you have tried them, and they typically don't have any issues. That's good to know. The great state of Alabama, Kyle. They're nice-looking baits. It's just, like I said, when you open them up and you got one little rusty ball in there, that's from one thing, water intrusion. So we'll see. The dirty A word. No, not all of them. I just happened to see this one because they were it shined because you're looking at everything clear and gray, and then there's one with a red ball in it. But you never know, dude. You might throw all of these and one catch them better than the other and be like, I bet it's that damn rusty one. I bet it's that damn rusty thing. South Jersey, what's up, dude? So, man, I might have to take my work home with me tonight and get these damn baits sanded. They're I lost quite a few hours today. Yeah, what's the average cost of an A rig to rig? Was an A rig $20 now? I literally have not bought an A rig ever. Uh, I'll be honest. I was anti A rig when they came out. I wasn't anti A rig. I just didn't like the concept of it. Um, I thought it was cool that you could get that a bait or an or a rig, as you would call it, had such a drawing power. Not even a drawing power. Like a swim bait has drawing power. Like an A rig, like triggers a bite. Like they bite it, and for something that was that like opaque, for lack of a better term, uh, I mean, it's literally 5 pieces of wire, like all this hardware, all this stuff. Um, for that to have such a intense, extreme like bite bite power, it's pretty incredible. Um, but it was, I would say, the A rig was kind of a little bit of a like a, what would you call it? It was like it wasn't a crutch, but I mean, you did see guys that didn't do shit before when the A rig came out, like do shit. You know what I mean? Like that bait came out, and there was guys that could just take that uh, and go throw it all day, and that's all they were going to do. And they started weighing in bags. If you took that A rig away from them, they those guys weren't on the radar. But can't fault them for it. But all the old cloth looks at it and says, "Damn, all this knowledge I've sucked up and gained just went out the window for for a little fraction of time, and I am worthless against its powers." But you see that compared to the other thing that was really cool about it was it seemingly caught the fish that forever in modern bass fishing was the uncatchable fish, right? So everybody thought that suspended mid-range fish was the fish that you couldn't catch. So the A rig proves that is not the case. That fish is inactive, but it can certainly be triggered into biting. Um, Marty Burns, I did not, um, not yet. They didn't run my mail yesterday. Uh, but yeah, you catch them on an A rig and stuff like that. But I mean, on a jerk bait and a jig. But the jerk bait is really the only thing, jerk bait and the crankbait, and maybe like a scrounger. But I don't feel like they'll like run to any great lengths to hit those like they would in A rig. Um, so it's really interesting to see what that thing could do. But like I said, I've thrown one when they came out and you couldn't buy them because they were sold out everywhere, which was really a fun time in the fishing industry. Um, when people are like, when you can't get something, and then people like start making knockoffs and stuff like that. It's cool to see like that all go down. And but like I said, I built my own out of some shitty wire, and the first time I threw it, uh, I think the first cast I ever made with an A rig, I caught a 3-pound spot, and Then the next cast, I caught another 3-pounder, and I was like, man, this thing's legit. The fish jumped in the boat and was flopping around, and the wire just broke off. I was like, well, shit. And I threw that thing that day and caught like 6 more fish, and I fished it until all the arms broke off. So eventually I was just throwing like two wires with 2 little rinky, and they still bit it. It was weird. But after that initial little run, it never like grew on me of something that like I enjoyed doing. The rigs I use are 20 heads, $6-7 for a 5-pack. What's a 5-pack of Rage Swimmers? What's another $6 or $7? That's right. A rig and bait fuel. I don't know if Hella, you believe in that stuff. I sure as hell don't. But like I said, I'm just a dumb guy from Alabama that's a skeptic. Jeremy, I just, you know what I mean? Like when I go out and I launch my boat in December. Sorry for those of you who can't launch your boat in December, but I go launch my boat on a nice, cool 80-degree morning in December, and I get out there. I'm really not like laying in bed like the night before going, damn, I'd love to catch them on an A-rig tomorrow. Damn, I'd love to lob an A-rig tomorrow. Those thoughts never cross my mind. I'm thinking, man, I would love to catch them crankbaiting tomorrow. Man, I would love to catch them on a jig in a treetop tomorrow. Man, I would love to catch them on a jerk bait. Man, I would I can think of a million different baits before I would like want to catch them on an A-rig. But I think the moral to that story is, if you have that type of mentality, it teaches you that if you have something, and this is like you see this from like pros, like a Biffle or a Denny Brower, but there's other guys that do it. And I found it to be true. If you have a lake that's decent enough size, is that if you really like cranking, and the average guy goes out there, and you're like way better crankbait fisherman than him, like you're a crankbaiter. That's what you do. You go out to the same lake, same day. The guy casually throws his crankbait and says, "They're not eating a crankbait." Picks up his lizard, start catching them. You get back and you talk to him. You're like, "How'd you do?" He's like, "Well, they bit a lizard real good." You throw a crankbait? Yeah, I didn't catch any on them. They ain't eating a crankbait. It's like, okay. But if you're stubborn enough and you're willing to put in the time, I would say 9 out of 10 times you can find a crankbait bite or whatever it is you like throwing. There's somewhere on that lake that fish are eating that. You might have to go way back in a creek in damn July. There's your bite. Nobody back there. There's your crankbait bite. You might have to go way up a river. There's your crankbait bite. You might have to go, do all kinds of weird shit, but that bite exists. It might, if you like throwing a spinnerbait, you're good enough with a spinnerbait that you can find where the bite is. But I didn't realize that till like later, to where I got like so stubborn, to where I just didn't want to think. You know what I mean? It's like I have it in my mind that I'm going to catch them on a crankbait or whatever it is, and you just go out there and throw the damn thing, and you keep changing up and going different places and trying different things, and eventually, you catch them burning it. It's like, oh, I didn't know that was going on right now. Um, so, uh, like look at Dean Rojas. That dude found a frog bite everywhere for like years. He didn't always win, but he got to do what he wanted to do and like be competitive. Um, I want someone to make a floating A rig for topwater when you can have 3 paddle tails on it, 2 dummies with one in the middle, having the hook and an A rig head, make it out of balsa to help keep it up. Uh, back when the snag proof tournament was like the old west, where you could like do whatever, when you could flip them and you could like Carolina rig them and put buzzbait blades on them and all that kind of stuff. Um, back when those tournaments were fun. Um, we were going in like I think we're in Mud Creek on Gunnersville, or we were coming out, and we passed these guys. We idle past them, and they had double and triple frog rigs. So 2 guys had like 6 frogs coming across the mat simultaneously. It was the wildest thing you've ever seen. It was pretty hilarious because they were like twitching their rods, and you'd see like all 3 of those frogs go. But they were both doing it, so it was like double. I don't know how effective that was, but it was funny to see like what people were willing to try. Um, has anybody ever thrown a multi frog rig? I think it would probably be okay for like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to fight a fish in a mat on 2 frogs or 3 frogs or whatever. But if y'all ever fish one of those, or any type of one brand bait only tournaments? I've only fished the snag proof frog tournament, and I will say when I used to have it in August, it was a damn grind, dude. Because it doesn't do you any good. Now I take that back. I fished a net bait tournament, and I fished a net bait tournament in the snag proof. Casey, you fished a Berkley tournament. How did you do? How did you do only fishing Berkley products? But Berkley's got a huge range of products. Was it back in the old days when they were just like soft plastics, or was it crankbaits and everything else they make, choppos and all that bullshit? See, that kind of takes it away from. I think that takes away from the appeal when you have like one of those companies that had, oh, it was an hourly thing. Um, I think it takes away from the tournament when the companies have a large catalog of baits. Um, everything Berkley, even rods and reels in line. I wouldn't be complaining about. Did you get more money if you used Big Game? I'd have been cashing checks on the minute. Oh, you talking like a South Jersey? You talking about like a rivet rig? I think we came in third in the net bait tournament, like 14 pounds. That was at Miller's Ferry. It's kind of weird. It's uh, it's kind of enjoyable knowing that everybody's pulling out of basically the same pot of baits. But it's also frustrating when you pull up to something and you're like, damn, dude, I would really, really like to throw this uh, down this bank, or on this tree, or in this grass, or whatever. And like NetBait had a swim jig, and we could use their swim jig, but their swim jig sucked. I was like, dude, I really don't want to use this shitty swim jig. So I used it, but luckily there wasn't much of a swim jig bite going on. Rich, you gonna get in on the gambler tourney? I think they're cool. If I own stuff from them, um, Reaction Innovations tournament would be badass. Because like the 4 people on the planet who have squeaky dolphins would be have a little advantage. But you'd have topwaters. You could have a vixen, squeaky dolphin, and then all their soft plastics. I think you'd be pretty good. You maybe even pull out a method crank if you still had one. Kind of a cheesy concept. I don't think that's up reactions. I don't think it's up reactions alley. Doesn't match their brand. It's kind of a desperate attempt to sell baits. In which case, I'd like to announce the Tackle Craft only tournament. Kyle, I think it's because he can take too much off and since the flights out of center. Yes, with shape we contact hold on, I missed something. TK, is there a human element that reasons why you don't use an electric belt sander to sand those? Yeah, you can't really. Like, how do you get a belt sander in there? And it's too many R's, too many, too much. Like, one thing's for certain, I'm not gonna dick these up, right? Like hand sanding them, but you give me a spinning machine, I might be shredding through some clear coat. Um, Kyle, I don't know what a slack belt. I don't know what slack belting is on a belt sander. I've never heard of that concept. Nate, yeah, you do pretty good. The only thing I don't, uh, like, I've got jigs, got spinner baits, hard baits, swim baits. Like, I pretty much fish everything I make for the most part. The only thing I don't make that I would like to have is a buzz bait. I would like to have my own buzz bait. Uh, and maybe, like, I could pitch with my swim jig and be fine. That wouldn't bother me. Um, but I would need a chunk. I think if you could give me a chunk, Rich, correct. I'm scuffing them so paint will adhere. Um, and I probably over scuff these, but I don't know that you can, because I think I read somewhere one time that if you've got a glossy spot on what you're painting, paint's not going to stick to it. So, well, I got to get all the glossy stuff off, and I don't hit all of it, but I get where I can. But Kyle, there's ways I could probably get away from this, but I haven't yet. So here we are. A belt that rotates over two parallel wheels. The center has no support, similar to those used to form and sharpen knives. Ah, I don't know that would help me. It would probably hurt me more than it would help me. Uh-oh. Blockit just released a new video. It's here. The new Blockit jig. I think it's the new something color. You want to be honest? Who owns a Blockit jig? Old school jig. I'm not going to judge. I don't give a rat's ass. They're probably really nice jigs. If I'm pouring and tying you a jig, it's probably going to be $10 too, because that shit is for the birds. If you go through the steps of building a jig, pouring it, painting it, putting the weed guard in, if you do it after the fact, if you do it before the fact, however you do it, painting, baking, powder coating, applying eyes if you need to do that. It's a lot of damn work for one stupid ass jig. It's kind of fun, but looking back when I first started pouring lead, I did it for just long enough to realize this isn't for me. This isn't for me. Because I needed to support myself. And I needed, in order to support myself, I needed to sell some of these things. And I was like, man, you gotta sell a whole lot of jigs. Like if you make a couple bucks on a jig, you're doing all right. And if you need to make like if you make $20 an hour at a job, and you'd be making $180 a day. So I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh, let's do simple math. I would need to sell 90 jigs today to make $20 an hour today. And then I thought about it and I was like, that's not humanly possible for me to build 90 jigs in a day. Not with my little stupid ass melting pot and a do it mold. So that was the simple math that I used in order to realize this is a losing effort. Nate, you're picky with skirt strands, so am I. It would be hard for me to talk live with a belt sander. Y'all wouldn't like that very much. Nate, maybe you can shed some light on this. Why is it that I prefer? I don't like bulky. I don't like bulky skirts at all. And I, for whatever reason, have seemed to find. I can't talk today. I have found in all my years of bass wrangling, of angling bass, that the more chewed up and ratty my skirt looks, seemingly the better they bite it. Chunks all got tears in it, little teeth drags on it, barely any paint left on the head, and it's got like 8 strands of skirt, and half of them are like a different length, like sticking out of the head, like that's when that son of a bitch like gets eaten. I don't know if it's the fall. I don't I don't know what it is, but that's like if I could pre-make those skirts like that, I probably would. But I don't like 20 20 strands of skirts fine. Um, like I don't like I see those guys that have like 60 strand skirts and shit. I'm like, dude, that's too much. That is too much. Like that just that gives me the willies just thinking about a skirt that heavy. Um, but I don't know. I think maybe that was like a trend where people were trying to sell the 60 strand skirt. But I'm okay with a. I actually I'm about a 25 guy. I use usually 2.5 pads, um, and that's good enough for me. Um, quicker fall and it looks ratty. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I like that. Um, I think a good way, like I feel like you take a skirt out of the package and then you just bite into it and you just start ripping. That's a good way to trim your skirts. The problem is they always. It seems like you Rich's jigs are 25 to 35. I think that's about the right. The jig, like I said, I don't really buy skirts or I mean jigs. The jig manufacturers list what the skirt thickness is. It seems like they always do if it's 60, but if it's like less, I don't know that I see it advertised as much. Nate is in agreement of 2.5 tabs. Travis, we're talking about how many pads should be on a jig, a pitching jig, or swimming jig, or whatever kind of jig you prefer. Swimmer's jig or pitcher's jig? I like 2.5 pads. I like them light. Pads and skirts. That's right. Uh, the Depths Matsuraba swim jig is one-sided and has a 30 strand skirt. I think I saw you hold that thing up and it really weirded me out. I couldn't handle it. It gave me lots of added stress and anxiety seeing only skirt pad on one side. Pitching jig 3 tabs, swim jig 2. I'm trying to think if I've got a jig over here that's a good representation of what I prefer. Um, I probably don't. I typically lose them, but pluck them out till it feels right. That's right. I have thick and thin, says Travis. Sometimes I feel like it, sometimes I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Do y'all think another question concerning ratty jigs? So I am a super chunk man till I die. I don't know. Like if I pitch a jig, 99% of the time it's going to be with a super chunk. And the only one that interests me that I know guys catch hogs on is the big chunk, the big salty chunk that looks like a Uncle Josh pork frog. They're large. And all the big hog snatchers from North Alabama, they're into the big salty chunk. And I always thought the big salty chunk looked dumb. Those guys, they're I don't know if it's what it is, if that's just what they grew up doing or what. But I never got on board with that thing, but it's always in the back of my mind, like, I wonder if maybe I try the big salty, but never did. Still haven't. Um, Travis, I get real stupid sometimes with skirt material. Like back when I was not selling and mainly just tying jigs for my own um, amusement, it was absurd. It was like 2 strands of this, 2 strands of that, 4 strands of this, 6 strands of this, and then I would have to sit there and I would have to recreate that to make myself like a dozen jigs or whatever. And it was just very, very time consuming. Um, Nate, that's my other one. We fish similar. If I am going to take a super chunk off, I will sometimes use a pack of. I use a pack of chunk, but um, I don't. I don't deviate from that too much. I thought about pitching the pack of punch. That would make a good jig trailer because it's got that slim profile. Um, Travis, and I will say about the really anal retentive, like 2 strands per color on a jig skirt, where it's like very OCD. There's nothing more satisfying than like picking that thing up and like pitching it out there and just getting drilled on it and being like, oh yeah, they know this thing looks good. They they understand. They get it. And I'm all about the front deck looking sexy. You know what I mean? Like I want to look down. I want to look at the water. I want to look at the deck of my boat. I want sex appeal. I want to look down at all those bays and be like, oh yeah, those bitches are right, dude. Like all these other dudes over here, they got crumbs on their boat. They got bullshit. You know, they're throwing uh, whatever garbage. The shit I got, real deal. And then other people like snoop on your boat and you're like, damn, dude, what is that? And they're like, yeah, that's real deal shit, dude. See that swim jig right there? It's got 60 different colors in it. Took me an hour to make it. One. And it's fun. Building jigs is really fun to me. Um, it's probably one of the more satisfying things I think you can do. If you don't have to deal with dicking with the lead um, and painting them and all that kind of headache, uh, picking skirt colors is really, really, really fun. Um, but I recently went on. I won't tell you the color, but save that for the Patreon. But I had this one skirt tab color that I would like swear by, and they used to sell it at fishingskirts.com, or not fishingskirts.com. It was Boss, whatever Boss was. Um, Maybe it was fishingskirts.com. I can't remember, but I haven't bought in many moons. So I went back online on their website to see if they had this skirt color, and it is seemingly gone. And I don't have that many of them left, and the ones I do have are kind of ratty looking. Travis, how would you ever know though? Can that be proven? Or is it all upstairs? The club guys always wanted the damn multicolor. Yeah, it's because they look awesome. I don't know. I'm a firm believer in contrast, and I think I think you need pretty heavy contrast. Like I'm not. I just don't like, you know. I wouldn't feel good about just throwing a brown jig with a brown chunk. That would bother me because I mean it looks like a damn turd falling through the. Like I don't know that a fish would eat that because they might think, oh look at that stick falling through the water. I mean it just doesn't look like anything. I at least want my stuff to like look like something. Um, so I wonder what is the percentage of you guys that uh, tie your own jig skirts, and do you pour your own heads or do you buy pre-poured heads? I think the way to go is to buy the raw material, buy the heads already poured if you can find. My problem was with buying heads was always I could never find a head that was good that had the right hook in it. Like there was always something wrong with it. Like I'll show you an example. Like the my swim jig, the Noala swim jig. It's got that big ass Sawash Gamakatsu in it. Big hook. Never gonna bend it. Like it is unbendable. But there are uh, there are certain times of year in certain situations that I don't really care for that hook. Um, when it's super hot, I feel like when a fish's mouth is really soft, that big hook can be a hindrance because it can. I think it's so big and you can pull so hard that it can rip the soft tissue in a fish's mouth. So I'd like a. I wanted an alternative to my swim jig I have now. I wanted an alternative to that, and I was like, I used the owner jungle flipping hook. I was like, dude, if I could get this thing in a damn swim jig, I would be set. So I started looking into getting jungle hooks in bulk, and somebody said, "Why don't you just go buy the Hackney jig from Academy?" And I was like, "What is that?" And he's like, "The Hackney swim jig. It's an Academy exclusive." He's like, "It's got the jungle hook in it." I was like, "You're shitting me." And I'm like, "No." I said, let me check this out. So sure as shit, that one right there. Select Series Swim Jig Jungle Flipping Hook, right there in the corner. And I found these on sale for really cheap. They were like $2. I said, well, I'll buy all those. Um, but that I really don't like buying stuff, but because those were cheap, it didn't bother me. But because I'd rather have it under, if I can make it under my brand, I would obviously prefer that. But I don't have the buying power of Strike King or the wallet to where I can just call owner and be like, "Hey, can I get 10,000 hooks so I can make some swim jigs?" They would say, "I'm sorry, we're too busy filling Strike King's million hook order." Oh, okay. Maybe next time. Maybe next time. But I'm thinking about doing a little swim jig. I don't think those have been done right yet. Like my problem though is the we don't need to get into that. We don't need to get into that. We'll talk about that later. AJ can tell me what hooks to avoid. Victory. That's unfortunate. Only because I feel like they made a big push to have like a good quality product. This is the answer to all of your prayers. Victory hooks are here. Use them. Angle bass with them. But AJ says they're poo-poo. AJ, what's the flaw? Do they come with shitty points? Are the barbs too small? Do they bend out? Are they weak? What is the tragic flaw of a victory hook? I rolled the points on 3 of them this weekend. What type of fishing were you doing? What was the application of the hook? Pack a Slim, that is a good one. I will say, Nate, if you get fish that are like spawn in the level of spawn to post spawn, like that in between shitty stage where the majority of fish are done, there's not many more pre-spawn fish. It's mainly spawning, transitioning to post-spawn fish. So here it's like in kind of later April, mid April. It depends on how the weather is, but I typically don't like that. I don't like that period of time. But if you're swimming a jig with a pack of chunk, dude, you better have 100 of them damn things, because all those little fry garters, fish still on bed that are a little bit aggressive, lazy post spawners, dude, they will peck the damn legs off of one of those things in an instant. Like, you've never set the hook so many times in your life. Like, they'll have it and they'll just have like a tip of one of the pinchers in their mouth, and you'll swing and you'll come back with a damn tentacle missing. And people claim, rumor has it, folklore can be said that you can swim a jig with one armed of a packer crawl and still catch bass, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Missile's new 5/16ths, yeah. I haven't tried one yet. If I'm gonna swim a small jig, I'm still gonna swim a Bitsy Flip, but that can be improved. Let's see. Oh, so you were using like one of their like beefy hooks, flipping docks and grass. That's not good. One of their stout hooks. Have y'all ever taken an old spinner bait or buzz bait, make an eye by the nose to make it into a jig? Kyle, I have not. If I lived on a deserted island and I had one bait left, maybe I would consider that. But due to Modern day bait availability, I have not. Um, Beast Coast Swim Jig has a hell of a hook. It's probably the same one. It's probably that Sawash Gamakatsu. Um, I thought that was going to be a good idea. Like I've had a ton of these. Like the only like I never Tyler, we're talking about jigs. Um, when I came out with my swim jig, it's the same thing as my spinnerbait. Like I really didn't have intentions of selling them because I know if you're going to get in the swim jig or the pitching jig or the spinnerbait market, that's a I mean everything in fishing is volume, but that is a real volume game because you're only looking at a couple bucks per jig made. And if I order 1,000 jigs and I make $2 on them or $1.50, whatever, you make, you know, uh, 2 grand. You can turn your 1 grand into 2 grand. Probably take me a little while to sell 1,000 jigs, especially when you're competing against dirty jigs. That's everywhere. They've got the same hook. There's so many of them. There's so many of them. It's hard to really get into that kind of niche world. But it's a beautiful jig. Tyler, you need to be throwing this one, bro. Get off that get off that dirty jig bullshit. There's the Sawash 5-aught Gamakatsu. Probably the same hook. I don't know if they got a bigger one, but you ain't doing jack shit with this. I mean, you can't. You ain't straightening that one out. Um, that's a damn stud hook. A good 30-degree hook. Um, Tyler, I'm sure it is. But like I said, you can't you can move it, but it's not going to move. And I've got things I'd like to change about this jig. I might have my mold redone. I don't know. But that's a yeah. That was Tyler. That was the only reason I had this made, because if I was AJ, it was like getting into the swim jig world with a stiff hook. It's like going into a battle of wits with a Sicilian. So I didn't really think that part out. I didn't say, all right, I'm going to have this. Like, I didn't have this master plan as to how I was going to sell jigs. I just knew that growing up, um, swimming a swimmer's jig, the options were very puny, and I knew that I wanted eventually at some point. I wanted a jig with a damn hook that I wasn't going to flex. So here it is. Were there other options of this? Sure. Uh, but they weren't mine. You know what I mean? Like I wanted it to be mine. I wanted my name to be on it, and I wanted to know that it was my design and it was my stuff. And it was more like a personal thing that I wanted to have this made, not really wanting to go toe to toe with like dirty or any of those kind of jig people. Um, so because I mean, a jig is all about the hook. So when everybody's using the same hook, what are you really selling? Skirt colors? maybe I mean I could have probably smoked anybody in the market's swim jig colors, but don't really have the time to sit down and do that. But besides that, I mean, how do you know what I mean? How do you sell that? Hey man, there's 30 other jigs got the same hook, same head design. Mine looks cool. Same weed guard. It's got a bait keeper on it. Yeah, no, that's one thing I did, Tyler. I hand tied all the skirts on them. I didn't. People got really confused when I was selling my jigs and spinner baits, or when I was like talking about them and they buy them, or that I'd post a picture of them. They were like, that skirt isn't hand tied. It's like, or that skirt isn't wire tied. Like it 100% is. It's like just because a skirt has a band on it, like a silicone band or rubber band or whatever, doesn't mean it doesn't have wire on it. Like I have my skirts pre-made and I put them on here and then I wire tie that. Like that's how I do it. But because of that band being on the skirt, people could not like you could see the wire in most of my pictures, and it it boggled some people's minds, dude. Like that's not wire tied. Yes, it is. Like I'm not going to sit here and say here's you a damn wire tied jig and then you get it and it not be wire tied. Like that's completely idiotic. But Manson, you behaving, bro? Tying the skirts does make a jig last a lot longer, and there's nothing more annoying than having to slide that skirt back up because once it happens once, it's like every time after that. Like a jig a jig will last uh, to a point unbanded. Um, I mean unwire wrapped. But once you reach the point that them panties drop, you're pulling them up every time. Oh, eat a dick himself, Manson. I hope you're up there telling guides and people knocking the heads off a smallmouth to eat a dick by the hour. Um, AJ, the hook you need is the stolen Gary Yamamoto hook. All your problems will be solved. Kyle, yeah. Here's what I get to wire tie my skirts with now. The bean came to the office, and this is what she did. This was all neatly arranged on a spool. If you can't see what this is about 50, 60 feet of 22 gauge copper wire, or some sort of, not copper, but steel, some sort of cheap metal. Kyle, I probably will. That's a really shitty job. That is a really shitty job. What's the best pitching jig on the planet? AJ, have you seen how many jigs you need, bro? I might could part with some hooks. Hell, you can buy them. They're still on eBay. Clay Bay, thanks, brother. Thanks for swinging in. If I could get through sanding, I might be able to paint some. I forget that they're still available. But I think, I don't know that jig, let me find one. Hold on. So this is the jig I pitched, still do, that I make. Are those jean shorts? The fuck are you talking about, Travis? Yes, I literally wear jean shorts every day of my life. Are those jean shorts? Manson, I got a shirt coming out that's going to say wearing rags and dropping bags with jean shorts on the back. I'll send you one. You can auction it off. All those fucking jean shorts. Anyway, this is the yeah, it is a rare day that I don't have Crocs on. For those of you who aren't familiar with this hook, it has a bit of a pedigree. It was supposedly ordered custom by Gary Yamamoto, and it somehow slipped out the back door, and Gary never took possession of the hook, but then they kind of just floated out there in the world. And I got a hold of some of them. And at the time, it was the hook. Like, it solved all my problems because I could swim it and I could put it in the head and pitch it. It was like perfectly in between. And I want to say this is like, I think this is a 28-degree head, or like it might be 35. I can't remember, but it's some weird degree. But that's the hook, and it's a Gamakatsu, and this is the 916. This is a Do It Mold S jig, but that's that Yamamoto Gamakatsu. But this thing doesn't flex. The thing about this is it's not as hardcore as like a Sawash Gamakatsu, like the tuna hook that's in the swim jig. That's a monster ass, like it's a giant hook. It's seemingly absurd for what we do. But this hook does not bend, but it will break. It reaches a point that like it's not going to bend, and you're not going to like, flex it. But eventually you'll like stick a stump or something, and that it'll just it'll break. But that's after like tons of use. Like it's not like you're going to get it and it's going to happen in like a couple months. Like, you've used the same jig, if you can get by using it for like a couple years, like eventually the hook's going to break if you can keep up with one that long. But it's a badass hook. It is a badass hook. Gamakatsu, Gary Yamamoto, thieved hook. This is I believe it's a 9/16 ounce head. But this is what I would fish from pitching in a tree or down the bank or whatever. Yep, that's it. DNL Advantage and Baby Advantage for smaller jig. They make a swim jig and just get to use the advantage of the Rodeo Craft flat back jig collab with depths, a killer heavy cover jig. They're rocking wood very well and also punches. Interesting. Um, yeah, it's just a round bend. I haven't dicked around with the like the sickle hooks. I've got some giant sickle hooks. Some would say huge. Here's a 5/0. I think I got a 6/0 too. I don't know why I bought all these. Look at this damn thing. What is that? I didn't say what degree. It looks flat. So probably 20 something to 30. Uh, but that is a large hook. Very large. Um, what is this one? Oh, this one's even bigger. I was thinking about having these put in a swim jig, but I don't think it's worth my time. I just wanted to see it. I think this is a 6/0. 6/0. Yeah, this might be a 15 or something, Marty. I don't know. It's small. I mean, it's not. It's pretty flat. I think this is for swim jigs. I'm not 100% certain. None of the packages say. What is this? There's a VMC 4/0. Why do I have all these? I mean, this is kind of equivalent. It's actually very close. This 7217 VMC is very, very close to this Gamakatsu, but it's a little shorter. Kyle, I don't like them. I don't like them. I don't like anything Mustad. Some of you might be Mustad guys. I don't care for anything Mustad. I don't care how ultra the point is. Yeah, I think so, Nate. I'm telling y'all, dude. I wish everybody like I used to buy these Gamakatsu Yamamoto hooks for crumbs. They were like, I want to say maybe I was paying like 30, 25 cents, 27 cents a piece for the hooks. Now they're almost $1 a damn hook. They might be $1 a hook. Kyle, I just don't care for their hooks. I used to use them a fair amount back in the day because that was what I could afford and what was out there to buy in bulk, and I just didn't. I didn't like it. Tyler, funny you mentioned that hook. My dude I fished with a couple years ago, he was like, "You tried this Mustad punching hook yet?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "It's the damn hook." I was like, "Come on, dude." He's like, "No, it's legit." And he handed me a red, extra heavy, like Mustad grip pin, and it was a 3/0. He's like, "That son of a bitch will stick them." And I tried it. It worked good. Like I wasn't in love with it because the wire was so big it like dicked up my baits, but it was a good hook. Gloves or no gloves? I like gloves. I'm not mad at gloves. About 4 years ago, I had some tried to have some manufactured, and that didn't go too well. The samples were not reflective of like the quality of what I thought I was getting. So that got shelved. That's back when I was in Austin. Um, but my problem with gloves is I always forget them. You know what I mean? Like I would wear them if I had them all the time, but I always like put them in my truck or put them somewhere else and lose them. So that's my biggest issue with gloves is oh, I will say, I was telling my wife, I was like, the perfect buff doesn't exist. And then she brought it to me. Um, she found what I was going to have designed. Unfortunately, it does exist. It's just more into the saltwater market. Um, and after I got this buff, I was like, this is a great buff. Everything about it is legit. I haven't worn it like in the wild yet, but everything points to that it should be right. Did I answer your question earlier about the baits? No, I haven't gotten them. If that was your question, Marty, they haven't shown up yet. Um, but I looked up this company that makes this buff, and I was like, let me see what they're about, like social media wise. And I looked up their page, and it was really pathetic for to me, like their whole. I guess this is what you have to do when you sell like salt life kind of stuff. You know what I mean, to that like salt life market. Uh, Literally, it was nothing but pictures on their website of like bikini fishing girls with maybe a mention of a product. And I was thinking to myself, these guys make what's to me the perfect buff design, sun neck thing. So they've got it, but what are they doing with it? You know what I mean? Like who's out there telling people that this thing is awesome? I don't see anybody. I just see a bunch of girls in bikinis like on some rich guy's boat. Uh, Help me understand. Like, do people just see the bikini girls and go, uh, I don't care what is going on here. I just want whatever they're selling. Jeremy, how do you not wear a hat, dude? Hot babes sell it, but that's the thing, Marty. They're not even trying to like. I barely see them even like pushing products. I guess it's brand awareness. I don't know. Rich, we're waiting on patches to show up. Did I not show you the new hats? Let me get this bait a little more sandy on the side. All right, this one's got some weird spots on it. got some pits. I don't know if I can get those sanded off. Maybe. I'm trying not to sand down into the damn wood. You anti-hatters, I don't know how y'all do it, dude. I didn't know anybody didn't wear a hat. Tim, what's up, dude? I'll get the next time I go live, I'll get my magical buff out of the truck and show y'all all the features that I was looking for in a buff. And if you're maybe on the fence like me, maybe this would be something you'd be interested in. Not that it would benefit me any to promote it, but it's a good buff. I should probably just have some made since I know it's already been done, and then put it out there into the world. Yeah, Darius, I had not worn a hat since high school. Like I would wear a hat to class in high school, and then I would make them make me take it off, and then I would take my hat off. And when as soon as the bell rung, hat went back on. All right, I'll do these later. It's 5:30. Yeah, it had some dark, not dark, but it had some deep kind of weird spots in the clear coat. But anyway, this should be fine. I got them sanded just about good enough. They almost disappeared. All right, Rich, here's what I got. I didn't know I had a bunch of non-hatters here. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bought all these damn hats. Buy hats to provide the people with sun protection and scalp protection. And then they get on here and tell me, I don't even wear a damn hat. So this is the, try not to get my dirty hands on it. This hat isn't as light as it looks. It's kind of khaki colored. Ordered a couple of these as a sample. It's nice looking. It's not white. It looks white on camera, but it's not. I kind of wish it was white. It'd probably look cool. But it's kind of a tan color. That hat's from the game, if you remember the old college hats. We have this one, the gray, nice looking. It's like a cross between a. I'm getting them dirty. In the green with the band, I like the band, so I went with banded hats. And then the camouflage to start things off. So that's 4 colors. I mainly ordered those as samples. Tim's like Burt Reynolds. I only take my hat off for one thing: the Pledge of Allegiance and church. Right, Tim? Everybody I know wears a hat and is half bald from wearing a hat. Guilty. That one isn't. These are kind of in between. Would that be considered high crown? It doesn't feel as tall as this one. This one feels taller. This one feels like an in between a. This one feels like a little bitty taller than a 112. That's what I was hoping for. Tyler's got heavy flow, nice lush, thick hair. Jealous. Uh, Nate, I will be ordering some of those. Um, Wearing a hat is not the reason your hairy ass is balding. Yeah, I think it's genetics. Red Wing, you like the camo? Yeah, it's a good looking hat. They didn't have that. I've got one coming that was out of stock. That's real legit. It's like a tan camo. Actually, I've got two. I've got a white camo and a tan camo, and the mesh is camo. They look badass. So I gotta wait for those to get in restocked, and I'll order some 112s for the P heads, and all will be well in the world. Jeremy, I would certainly take gray hair over no hair, for sure. Um, this is a Yupung hat. I don't have any in that box that are Yupung. Tim likes a 112. I think it's like a the 112s are good because it's like a universal style and fit that everybody knows. So you can kind of work from there and tell people like roughly how a 112 fits comparatively to other hats. Um, Kyle, actually, Amy tried to buy Hella a visor when we were ordering hats. She mentioned it. She said, "Should we get Hella a visor?" I said, "Sure, get him a visor." And then we did the math on the patch, and the patch wouldn't fit. The patch was to be like taller than the damn visor. And it's like, well, that doesn't work. So when the 112 came out, it changed the game 100%. 6 panel Yupung, good hats. I like their stuff. Marty, you like visors too? I used to wear a Cobra visor, the golf thing. Uh, what is the 6 panel winter hat? Kyle, you got to fill me in on this. I'm not. AJ, I was never a fan of the high crowns, but they're so damn comfortable. Like that little bit of area right here on top of your head, like is so much more comfortable than that little hat pulling down on your head. Um, Marty does. It was a golf thing. I was working at a golf course. I had to have my Cobra visor on. Um, Kyle, I saw some that were wool, um, or they were like a wool hybrid material. They looked really nice. They were very kind of puffy looking. Uh, Visors are for old ladies playing golf. I was thinking about doing a tackle craft visor that was the plastic one, like the poker visor. How do you think those would go over? The green clear plastic bill. AJ used to wear a cowboy hat. I need a good hat. U.S. Optics. Oh. All right, 6:36. I got to get out of here. I think everybody left. Uh, all the all the maintenance guys doing sheetrock and stuff. But I need to bag up these baits and go home and finish sanding them, so I can actually get to work tomorrow. Like I said, I got delayed like 3 hours delayed dicking that damn AC. Catching bass looking like Hunter S. Thompson. That's pretty good. Pretty good. All right. Later, dudes. I need to put my stack of sandpaper in here. Not that I'll need that much, but you never know. Tim used to wear a cowboy hat when he used to drink a lot. It's all right, Marty. They'll show up. They'll probably be there today, hopefully. I don't think the mail lady, I think she missed our house yesterday. Um, Catching bass like Elmer Fudd. Uh, is that what we are with our high crowns looking like Elmer Fudd? All right, I'll be good. Later, Instagram. Discard. I'll show you. I'll show you the ones that are on the catalog we've got, Kyle, and see what you think about them. Because I'm not a winter hat guy. I don't know winter stuff, but y'all be good. We'll see.